The day I got a book deal, I was completely stressed out of my mind. I was so stressed that I emailed my literary agent. I was like, what's going to happen? When are we going to hear? So a week before I got my offer, my agent had sent me an email and she told me, hey, by the way, an editor at a publisher reached out and wanted to let you know that they're interested in your book and they wanted to see if your book was still available. Then I heard nothing for a full week. My imagination ran wild with like possibilities. I was super stressed. So I talked to my agent, and my agent's very realistic about our possibilities. And she goes, look, Mark, possibilities: one, you get rejected; two, the editor falls out of love with the project and they reject it; three, the editor loves it, but the people there who, sign the checkbooks, they don't like it, or they don't think it's going to sell. They're not going to do it. And he goes, and then there's the fourth possibility, which is the least likely possibility, which is that everybody there loves it. They want the book. And so I was like, okay. And so we went back and forth with that for a little bit. And I was pretty much feeling like it wasn't going to happen. And I even was talking about the next book project I was going to work on in the meantime while I was waiting to hear back. Well, 90 minutes later, my agent emails me again. And I'm in the middle of teaching my 7th period English class. And I have my students in their partnerships, and they're all practicing and writing argumentative essays and building thesis statements. And so while they are working together in partnerships, I get a buzz on my phone. I get an email from my agent. And I'm confused when I read it, because I'm confused when I see her name show up on my phone, because I'm like, we just finished this communication over my lunch period. There's no point for us to keep talking. What else does she have to say? And it was titled, The Shortest Wait Time You've Ever Heard. And I was like, what? So I opened it up, and then it was like, congratulations, you received an offer today for Sky's End from Peachtree Teen. And I just stared at the email. And then I started like going, And then my students, they turn around, they look at me, and they're all blinking and confused. And then I shout, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. The whole class goes quiet. Everybody's watching me. And I felt out of my body. Like, this was a moment I had been dreaming of for like 20 years. I've been trying to get published since I was a teenager. And it took me a long time to get an agent. It took me a really long time to write my first book. And then after I finally finished my first book and I started sending out my books, it took me another 10 years after that to actually land a literary agent. And so this was a really surreal moment for me. And this is not how I pictured it happening, that I'd be in the middle of teaching a class. And I walk up to the front of the classroom, and I think I sit down on my chair up in the front, and the whole class is watching me. And then I take off my glasses, and my face is flushed. I can feel the heat in my body. My heart is just thudding. The whole class stares at me. And I think I broke down there. I might have cried. I don't remember entirely. A lot of this is fuzzy. And one of my students goes, it's okay, Mr. Gregson. They probably thought like a student like bothered me or something like really severely. And then I made the announcement, and my class broke out in cheers. They were all just yelling, roaring. One kid's like, you're going to be a millionaire. Another kid's like, can I tell my mom? It was this incredible moment for me, and I'm never going to forget it. Kids are great. And that feeling, that accomplishment, this was years in the making. And we're now less than a year from that book actually being out in readers' hands. And I don't care what readers think. I'm just so excited. I do care. I want readers to love it. I love the book. This is a book I wanted to write my whole life. And I just can't wait for people to get their mitts on it and read it and just get absorbed into this awesome floating, world of floating islands and sky serpents and duels and a vicious meritocracy where there's only winners and losers. 1 year away, Sky's End, coming from Peachtree Teen in spring of 2024.